well, we could just start with it. I'll just go, oh, geez, it was exciting. Like, the way he was kicking out from full back in his first game, like, how good was it? And then you could just jump pretty much straight in.
No, I feel like we should just be talking about how we're good friends to him. Like, we're good friends, you know. We've known him since way back. He owes us, you know, we've taught him a lot of life lessons.
Oh, man, I used to sit Tommy down sometimes when we were playing cricket, and, like, maybe he'd make a duck, and I used to just tell him to stick to footy, mate. You know, you're no good at...
Stick to footy. And then
stick to footy.
And then the next day, West Coast offers him a contract, and he comes to me, he asks me, he's like, hey, mate, what should I do? I'm like, you should join the West Coast Eagles Football Club. And he's like, I will.
So you
I'll take your advice. Yeah, no, like, you know, the host of All for Footy has such weight behind his words, you know.
So we both pushed him in that direction, really. I mean, I told him at cricket to stick to footy, and you told him to take the Eagles. And
Exactly.
Words of wisdom.
And Fenno did nothing. What's up, everybody, and welcome to All for Footy, the AFL podcast where good friends gather and gab about last week's games, this week's games, and everything in between. Go find us on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host, Nathan, Mr. 9 out of 9 Norman, joined, as always, by the second best podcaster in the world, Dan, Big Daddy Reedy. How you going, Dan?
Nathan, Milton, Norman, my feathered friend. Good to see your face again. I feel like I didn't recognise you when I first saw you, but then I looked through the hair and the stubbly beard, and I realised it was the same person, and here we are.
Yeah, well, see, I have this thing. Like, we missed a couple of episodes, of course. Me, because I had COVID and couldn't perform. You, because you went on your, 17th holiday of the year and couldn't be back in time, unfortunately.
Tour.
And yeah, I have this thing, whenever I get sick, I've got to shave the beard. The beard's got to go. If I'm blowing my nose and stuff, I don't need no beard. The beard is gross at that point. It needs to go. And it's been 2 weeks. I've already got a beard back. It's fine. I'll be fine. Don't worry. You'll recognize me soon enough, mate.
No, you're still very feathered. I can see a nice girth of hair there. And
oh, mate, you know
I must admit, I'm a bit buggered myself. I feel like I'm under the weather from just travelling, and there's been lots of events on from Perth to Cairns, and everywhere in between. And we look forward to going over it all tonight. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, let's not waste any more time, my friend. Let's move into last week's games.
Already.
Oh, mate, we're not here to have sex with spiders, as the saying goes.
Oh, I've heard a different saying.
Yeah, I know. They say it differently. I'm keeping it PG. So, we'll start off with the first game of the week. It was Thursday night football at Marvel Stadium. St Kilda versus the Western Bulldogs. St Kilda 8-12-60 to Western Bulldogs 20-12, 132. The Doggies by 72 points. Reeves, I'm sure you were over the moon with this result.
I was absolutely upset. I
can imagine.
I threw a little bit of baby out with the bathwater during the game. Was watching it with the family.
Yeah.
I proceeded to start telling Dave and Sammy how the Saints are just wasting this year and they're stuck in the middle ground. And, we got into a few argy-bargy back and forth conversations about where we're at as a club, because obviously we're all one-eyed and, we like to feel like we're getting somewhere. But after the weekend, the Doggies just made us look like witches' hats. And I feel like we went with them. We tried to play maybe not too defensive. We didn't try and maybe limit the damage or anything. We just went, it's 9th versus 11th on the ladder. This is it. You got to have a crack at some point. And they just made us look second rate. And they used the ball really well. And they just used the outnumber. Quite a simple tactic, and they just ran very hard. And by half-time, especially by three-quarter time, it just looked so done. And the Doggies were running on top of the ground with a bit of extra space. And, credit to their system. But, the week earlier, the Hawks really defended them down, and I was really shocked that the Saints didn't try and slow them down and really try and stop their good ball movement. And so it was just an upsetting loss to go down by 70 plus points, I think, in the end. But Ross has his methods to his madness, and we did have the bye, and now we got Collingwood. And just from listening a bit, I feel like he's really eyeing off a big performance against Collingwood after the bye. Not to say you don't try every week, but
No.
so I feel like a response will be coming this week. But go the doggies. I mean, Jai was quite happy with that win too. He's been spruiking the doggies all year, and he's just on board. Like I follow West Coast a bit this year. Just a bit excited about him. Jai has called that he goes for the doggies in 25, and he let me know about it all weekend. When I also did travel up to Shepparton to see my cousin and my auntie, and they are also very strong Bulldog supporters, and so everyone was letting me know all weekend about it. And
yeah, that's disgusting. I
it's
don't
been a real
know.
stinker.
I don't know what you're doing. I'd like how you manage your household, but I had no choice. I was born. My grandma had already knitted me a Melbourne blanket. Drapes in Melbourne from day dot, and there was no discussion, no movement of I'm going for this team. No, it's Melbourne all the way, and you're not doing a good job. You're letting him throw his life away going for a team like the Doggies.
Yes, I feel like in 2025, though, Nathan, you have to be a bit more accepting to your children's needs.
No.
If they come home and tell you one day that they made other life changes, you have to listen to them. Though at the moment, he's still got the Saints poster on his wall. He still has a Saints blanket on his bed. His cupboard's full of Saints Guernseys. There's a lot of pressure on him from Grandpa and from such people and Uncle Paddy, but he has made the decision that he wants to go for doggies this year, so I just have to ride it out with him.
Yeah, no, and I feel like you need to make the decision that he doesn't get to make that decision. Like that's like I don't know what you're doing, bro. Like it's hey, look, I used to know people growing up, and they were like, "Oh, my dad goes for Essendon, I go for Richmond, and my brother goes for Geelong." And I was like, "You're a basket case of a family. There's no unity, all right." Normans have gone for Melbourne, like my father, my father's father, my father's father's father, my father's 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 father, since the game began. And that's the Norman dynasty's Melbourne supporters. We're drenched in sadness. But the unity is there. And I feel like...
Plenty of years up at the Snow, though.
Oh, mate, I've been to the Snow once in my life. I'm not that kind of Melbourne supporter. I think once, maybe twice, but yeah. No, twice. All right. Well, back to the game. Yeah, no, very disappointing for you guys. Really, I can't believe doggies aren't in the 8 because there is they're on another level than you guys at the moment. Same with Melbourne. Like, I wouldn't tip Melbourne against them either. Like, I just don't understand. They've got such a good squad. And they've just signed Bevo to more years as well. They did that last week, yes, correct?
It was concerning coming up against him just as they signed him during the week. I mean, look, they look pretty united, the Dogs, and I reckon the second half of the year will yield a lot more wins than losses. So I really see them playing in the finals, and it's just how far do they go, I mean, on any day, I reckon they can beat any team. So, they'll throw their hat in the ring, the Doggies, this year, and, might have a little look.
Yeah. And I do think Bailey Dale has really been a very nice pickup.
Australia.
Oh, very nice pickup for the Doggies. It's just,
Bailey Dale. Been there for a few years now. I mean, he's pretty consistent performer, old Bailey, but
yeah, I'm
having a great year.
I just keep thinking like Doggies just have such on paper to me it seems like they have such a good list, but they're ninth. Like they shouldn't be ninth. They should be.
No,
they should be in the 8. They should be squarely in the 8. But
when the whips are cracking, they've got the team to play. So I don't think at the moment they're that concerned, considering. At this point last year, Brisbane just won on the weekend and they were in 13th position in this round last year. So, you've really just got to be in contention and then start playing your best footy now. Like, you can't maybe what Collingwood's done doesn't get you into a prelim or make the grand final still. You still got to have a very good second half to the year. So I just still think that the Dogs, within their own four walls, will be so confident right now that they're just right in the race and they're only one out, one back, and they're just sitting right there and they're just ready to strike, and they just got to play, pretty effective footy, kick straight, and it's right there for them. I reckon they'll believe. So I'm half rooting for them at the moment. I feel I just think they're a good show.
Yeah, no, it's hard to
They're a
hate.
good story.
It's hard to hate the Doggies. Like, they've even won a premiership semi recently, I guess. But they still seem like the underdogs.
And lost one, don't forget, against Melbourne. So they've made it. So
Yeah.
two in 8 years it's still pretty good going, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Quiet night for Bont.
Yeah, but he's chipping away well.
Almost thought he wasn't playing.
Relying on him, which I think's a big thing, that they're not relying on a superstar in Bont, and he's just playing a role. And when the whips get cracking, you'll have a bloke that he's like a massive chess piece in the game. So
yeah, they didn't need to bring him. He didn't need to step up for this one, but
and they win by 7.
He didn't really do anything. He didn't really do anything, which is very odd.
The Saints, me and Paddy obviously watch a lot of things closely, and we seem to cop a lot of teams just on a bad week. And again this week with Bevo signing and Darcy coming back, I just thought, he'd done the extra week out. They were going to just give him the game just to bring it back before the week off, before finals sort of thing. And then, Saints, they just can't take a trick. We just seem to get a lot of teams when they're just like ready to really test it out against the Sainers. So
yeah, no,
it was another week and the Bont was quiet and Darcy came back in, and it was only about round 4 this year, or maybe round 5, when the Bont came back for his first game of the year, and Darcy went down with his knee in the same game. And I thought it was quite ironic that the Bont was coming back, which made us go, oh, trust, now they're going to have Darcy and Bont. Darcy does his knee in that game to go out, and now they've crossed back over against St Kilda again. So the Saints.
Well, look out! People. Look out, Bont. He might get an injury this weekend. Who knows?
No.
Or are they not playing? Is there a bye? Anyway, we'll move on to the next game. Hawthorn versus Adelaide at the University of Tasmania Stadium. Hawthorn 6-11-47 to Adelaide 5-14-44. Hawthorn by 3 points. Shit, this was a close one, Reeves.
It was a real mess, wasn't it?
It was a terrible game. It was so scrappy.
I actually was on the quarter on this game. I had $10 either way on the quarter, and a checking in at halftime, and it was Hawthorn, and I just went, oh, you're absolutely... No, sorry, it was Adelaide.
Yeah.
And I just thought, oh, it was close, whatever. And then, of course, I checked at the end of the game, because we were out for dinner on this night. I was up in Shepparton way with the family, so I wasn't able to watch the game at we're at the Siebel restaurant, and a very lovely restaurant, but so lovely that they don't have the footy on in the dining room, which come on. We're in 2025. But there was a few phones out across the tables,
Mate, if you go into a classy place to have dinner, they're not going to have a TV, all right? That's not what going out and eating dinner's about, all right?
I was on the quarter, mate, and I needed to know who was leading at each quarter, so I was sort of...
You need to pick your destination a bit better.
The Hawks, geez, they just snuck with the points, and, I tipped them. I was very happy with that, although, I actually can't remember who I tipped now. I'm pretty sure I tipped Hawthorn.
I tipped Hawthorn.
But,
I think.
Yeah, it's not that my tips matter. I mean, I got 4, so I know I just used...
Mate, you and Paddy are just not trying at all.
While also trying.
Yeah. Well, while also trying, yes, no, 100%.
But, in the end...
Everybody went Hawthorn, pretty much. Even you. Oh, Paddy didn't even get his tips in this week. He's that gone. He's that checked out.
Wow, so I might be able to beat Paddy. Come on.
Well, a few people at the bottom have stopped putting their tips in.
Yeah, big week for Dylan Moore as well. I actually saw him down at Hawthorn when I was down there during the week getting a coffee, and me and Paddy had to kill an hour before a job, and we were right in Mulgrave, so we thought we'd just pull in and get food at the cafe and sit down and have a nice brekkie. And there was Dylan Moore just sort of getting to his car, leaving the club early in the morning, and it's very exciting when you're around Hawthorn. All the women's AFLW team was training, and Yeah, it's a good spirits down at Waverley Park at the moment, and add the 4 points, which they got against Doggies the week before.
Yeah.
And I really just feel like these couple of weeks sets up their season now because, a loss or two there, and they were really pushing back down into the middle of the pack. But right now, just sitting nice and pretty around the 4. And, I just still don't see them potentially making the grand final this year. I think they're really worthy of maybe playing in a prelim. I just still feel like they're a season or two away, but aren't they just looking good if they just keep building now, the next year or two, with the momentum they're getting? Like, they're not going to go backwards. They got young midfielders in Jai. I'm pretty good at going blank on some of these players.
Jai Newcomb.
Newcomb. Jai Newcomb, that's the one. I was about to say Jai Simpkin, and I'm like, he's super old. But,
and plays for a different side. But yeah.
So yeah, just a lot of green shoots with the Hawks here, and I feel like they've really turned a bit of a leaf here, where they're probably not eyeing off being the best team in the comp or anything at the moment, but they know that if they do the process and build some depth, that they're ahead of clubs like Carlton and that, I reckon, already, just on a rebuild, and they're doing it well. So that was a great, very important win, and good to get the 4 points.
Well, look, I see Hawthorn. So this thing, I compare Hawthorn to a team like Doggies, and I'm like, Doggies have superstars. Hawthorn, they've just got a solid team. Like they've got the odd exceptional player, but none of them are like legends or like future Hall of Famers. Like you got Liberatore and Bont for the Doggies.
Yeah.
The Sam Darcy's such a good prospect, and then over on Hawthorn, so you've got some young kids. I like Newcomb. As you said, like Newcomb, Moore, they're popping up. They're not household names just yet. Like Impey, I don't know who the fuck Impey is.
Not Jarman Impey. He's a star.
He's
been doing it for years. He's probably more 30.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. But like,
what to like about the Hawks?
My thing is like, I don't see too many like big names amongst them, but they seem to be working pretty well. Great. You know, they work as I'd say they're probably a better team than Doggies. Even though, as I said, Doggies on paper look amazing.
Yeah, they've got a lot of good role players, they like to call it. I mean, D'Ambrosio as well. He's just playing a great role, and Hardwick at the moment as well. I mean, he's just hard as nails like his old man was. And, a lot of these guys are just playing pretty simple roles and winning their role, and it's going a long way for the team. And so, yes, good work from the Hawks.
Yeah, solid. But also, fuck you all. I want my Friday night back. Because what a terrible Friday night that was watching that game. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Like, come on, give me an exciting game. Play some exciting footy, for fuck's sake.
It wasn't good timing for Tasmania as well. I mean, Luke Hodge came out and said, if you want to attract the best footballers and good brand of footy down in Tassie, this weekend was the example of why there has to be a roof on the new stadium they build down there. Because you're going to get this weather set in where it was very tough to play footy down there. It was 1 degree and it was raining and it was
skill issue.
So I think you really should listen to a few of these players. It's about a brand of footy where, you can still have a contest out in an oval and all that sort of thing, but people want to see good footy, with good marks and skillful kicking. And if you're going to build this place, let's build it very well. And he really went hard on just sort of throwing a little slide jab up there, saying, hey, whack a roof on it. That's what he said.
Well, I wouldn't mind moving to Tasmania. I hear it's much cooler over there in summer.
I'd move to Tassie tomorrow if I could.
No, you
but
wouldn't.
I can't. No, if I could. I mean,
I don't think
a job and a place. If I could, I would, but I won't.
I won't.
I'd love to.
I love Melbourne too much. All right. Well, with that, we'll move on to the next game. It's Brisbane versus Giants. Saturday football at the Gabba. Brisbane 13-18-96. GWS 17-5, 107. GWS by 11 points. Reeves.
Well, so I wasn't all over this one. I did think they were a sneaky chance, but the week before losing against Port Adelaide, I just thought, the morale's probably a bit beaten up for the Giants here, and they're going to travel up to the Gabba. And Brizzy's still, they're playing very good footy. week to week. So I think you know what you're going to get against Brizzy. You're going to get a
Mm.
full-on, hard-fought game. But the
They were in
interesting
it.
bit for me with the Giants is they've now beaten Geelong, Brisbane, and Collingwood. And, you know, I just think if you read into that form line a bit, come later in the year when big finals are played, you know, there's something about them when maybe they've slipped a few games to a Port and a couple other teams that you mightn't have expected them to slip a game to.
They have.
That the Giants, if they can get themselves in again, like the Doggies, could just be one of those teams where right they go, we got one chance and we're gonna play bloody hard. They seem like they play better in those games, and again was an example. I think they went to the Gabba and just put it all on the line, focused in on everyone's roles, and they just got over the line, didn't they?
Yeah.
And in the end, they actually sort of did it a little bit comfortable, even though it got a bit close there. They were up by a couple of goals late, and Brizzy got a late goal. And yeah, credit to the Giants. I mean,
Yeah,
wow.
no, I'm just looking at their games that they've won so far, and yeah, you're right. They have knocked out like all the top teams, it seems, and then they trip up against Hawthorn, Adelaide,
Which they could have won. They should have won against Hawthorn.
Doggies, Sydney,
Yeah.
Freo, Port. Like, there's a few
Yeah.
teams in there that they should have freaking beaten.
And
Sydney
then
being the
other
top.
end of the ladder.
Sydney being the top of that list, like really, Sydney. How'd they get you? They only beat Melbourne by 3 points as well.
Well, that is interesting. That so.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
Giants to me, they're very sleeping giant type of team right now, where you know they might just fade off and maybe just miss the 8, and it wouldn't overly shock you, but they could definitely just sneak in, and maybe if they get a home final or something and get through to the second or third round, they could take down a Collingwood or someone in a prelim, and yeah, so they'll be absolutely chock full of confidence, I imagine. And at the moment as well, another great pickup for them has just been Cadman. I mean, he's up forward
he's,
there.
bagged 5.
Did he get 5? Did he? Because
Yeah, he
I've
kicked
seen him
5.
up here on the high ranked players, and I heard him give him a huge shout out. Just how he's actually playing second fiddle at the moment behind a very good forward in Hogan.
Yeah,
And,
the best in the league, I'd say.
so how well's it going for them when you know they went and got Cadman, really targeted him, knowing that that's the sort of guy we want
Yeah.
to come and play this role, and he's really shining through. And that's where I feel like they could be dangerous this year because you know Toby Green is a goal sneak, and obviously Hogan and Cadman, and you can start rattling off some real serious goal kickers on.
Well,
their
Stringer
list.
still
So,
plays for them, apparently.
Stringer.
So, like,
Yeah.
he wasn't there last week, but
He hasn't been kicking many goals this year. I mean, look, they might
Well, it's in a
get
new
him
team.
back in a bit, but
yeah, it's a new team. He probably would have done better being a big fish in a little pond, which is Essendon. But now when you put him against put him side by side again with the probably the best forward in the league, yeah, you're gonna have trouble.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
Well,
no,
good
look,
luck.
good football. Like really, like what a good game. This is what a Friday night game should be essentially. Like high scoring, tight margin. You know, there was a couple of lead changes.
Well,
You
if
know.
you listen to round 1 of All for Footy this year, I called the Giants and the Hawks to be one of my novelty grand finals. So maybe I was actually thinking I said Brisbane for a sec, but I actually said Brisbane and Collingwood.
Well, Brisbane better
The
find their
Giants-
form.
The Giants and the Hawks, I mean, I had them in my 4. You know, I sort of felt like at the start of the year, you got to pick 4 teams and
Yeah.
spread them across 2 grand final predictions. And I had Collingwood and Brisbane. And
I think
the
everybody
Giants-
everybody had GWS up there. Everybody.
Yeah, so they're still sneaking around, aren't they?
It really ruined everybody's ladder predictions.
And obviously
for the most part.
Whitfield, you know, to go with Tom Green as well. I mean, they got the midfield connection. So,
Yeah. But yeah, don't take it away from Lions either. Morris kicked 5, good for him. And then all the other goal scorers sort of shared it round. But you're kicking 13 goals, 18 against 17 goals, 5. Like, how are you gonna win? But you know they were in it. They could have won well enough. But
They had zero,
that's it.
zero behinds at half time, the Giants. So that was quite impressive.
Yeah. Hey, look, if you're kicking straight, like, yeah.
But the scoring shots, when you put that in context, Brisbane had almost, 25 scoring shots to 10 at half time.
Yeah, it should have
And
blown them out of
then
the water, but
they
didn't.
really should have blown them out of the water. So, I mean, I suppose the more I look at it, it's really one where Brizzy, I don't think, even though they didn't kick straight, I just think their footy's very good. And I'm sticking pretty fat with them being right up there in the top four at the end of the year, as in playing off in the prelim.
Yeah. No, fair.
Mm.
All right, well, let's move on to the next game, shall we?
We shall.
Saturday afternoon football at the MCG. It was Essendon versus Geelong. Essendon 8-8-56. Geelong 23-13, 151. Jeez. Geelong by 95 points, 5 short of 100. Reeves.
Oh, I mean, I was obviously up in the heartland of Country Town because I was in Shepparton. It was one of the main reasons I went up this week because it's country round, I celebrate, I sort of got to be there with the pod, just get a bit of vibe in the...
Yep. You had to do what you had to do.
In the greater Shepparton region, and went to go actually pop down to the Shep Swans ground on the Saturday when we went out to go to the local mini golf in the big parkland area we went to go play in. And they were playing away, so I was quite upset that I didn't drive past and honk the horn and maybe watch a quarter.
Yeah, mate. You got your phone. You could have Googled it, mate. It would have told you.
Well, they were just up the road, so when we went out, I thought, I might we'll pull in here for a quarter. And then as we drove past, like, Pete got the gist that he just kept following me because obviously there was no one in the ground. But yes, and it was just the vibe out there that weekend. Everyone was going, so excited about the game, and it's great they're celebrating the country footy. And Shawnee, obviously my other cousin's husband, Sean, is the coach of Tungama.
Oh, really?
Just out of Yarrawonga there. And Tungama had a great win on the weekend. And again, he just said, hats off to the AFL for celebrating country round. We all get around it, and thank you to the AFL, they were all saying. So they celebrated, they stood, they ceremonied for country round, and then Essendon just forgot to start the game.
Yeah, they didn't turn up, unfortunately.
No, they really didn't. I think they were stuck out in Benalla. They
That's
just
very
sort
unfortunate.
of...
I had a multi down on Essendon to win, along with some disposals and goal scorers, and the disposals got there.
Yeah.
That's about it.
About
That's about it. What a unfortunate rubbish game by Bombers. They are floundering. They need something to change. But yeah, look, the Cats, they've always been a team that loves punishing teams that don't turn up to play. They really are bloodthirsty over in Geelong. There's something in the water, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, mate, they're playing as good a footy as anyone in the comp, I think. I mean, I've rated them since the start of the year as being a real contender to push back in the 4 this year. And at the moment, I'm just starting to eke them higher and higher. I just really feel like they've got the depth in the squad. They got all sorts of players that can play all sorts of positions.
Yeah.
Tom Stewart, the lead example, and Dangerfield on the weekend, just sliding back in. And Cameron, he's just really got the ball on a string now, and I'm really enjoying watching Geelong play footy. I played golf today, actually, with a Geelong friend of mine, and the two other boys playing with us were both Essendon, obviously me being St Kilda, and he just had the last laugh because he goes, I'm Geelong. And we all told him to get stuffed. But, it made me realise when I opened up for the next few minutes how well Geelong are going, and you start rattling it off, all the players on the list and how dangerous they can be. I'm really putting them in the window to having a crack this year, especially after what I saw on the weekend. To win by 95 points, it really puts the foot down. Bailey Smith is just elite.
Yeah,
And Max Holmes, I mean, what a jet. And, he's going to be out. Is he out now? Or?
Not too sure. But yeah, Bailey Smith, like, what a pickup. Like, he was, he's, Jesus, and that was another one. He used to be in the doggies. That was another, like, quality player. But they got rid of him.
Yeah.
Real Doggy should have a flag. They've got a stacked team.
And it was interesting to see. I actually went round to Bailey Smith's neighbour's house the other day because I was playing. I know his neighbour. It's an old work colleague of mine.
Yeah.
And when I pulled up at the front of his house just to pick him up, and because obviously I know Bailey lives over the road now.
Of course.
I saw a car pull up. It looked like the CEO of the AFL and a couple of representatives, and it looked like they were just popping down to Bailey Smith's house to have a bit of a chat to him about. I don't know what, but maybe a few comments he's been making recently. So that's the whisper that the AFL House have been down there. I did see with my own eyes a nice black vehicle with a few armoured people just looking around very casually. And the boss of the AFL just slipped into his house and was only in there 20 minutes. Didn't come out too disgruntled, but obviously had something to talk to Bailey about. And can only imagine what it could be. Maybe a few of those cheeky comments that he's been making lately. So, he has been fined twice this year for giving the bird, we know, and obviously his Nosebeers comments and the like. So, it's interesting just to keep tabs on the young man, but it could also be a smoke and shadows moment.
Smoke and shadows.
Yes, or smoke and mirrors.
Oh, okay, yes.
So
mirrors, shadows. Hey, look, they're all involved.
Yes, but so good on Bailey and keep rocking on, I say.
Yeah. None of that happened, I don't think, but cool.
Oi. Yeah.
Oi.
Or is it stay cotton on?
Stay cotton on.
Stay cotton on. That's what he says.
All right, well, that was a story and a half. But yeah, Geelong. Cameron kicked 6. Stengol kicked 1. Unfortunately,
Stengol.
My family were very upset Stengol didn't kick 2 because they needed that second goal to win $100. And they were very unhappy about that. And I was unhappy as well. And then we cried. And then the cats cheered. All right. The literal cats in my house, not like the footballs. Yeah.
All those cats, people.
Mate, got 5 cats here. It's fucking intense, all right. All right, let's move on to the next game.
Let's.
Saturday night football at Optus Stadium was North Melbourne versus Fremantle. North Melbourne 10-7-67 to Fremantle 10-13-73. Fremantle by 6 points in the end. What a close game. Pretty low scoring as well. Didn't really jive with it. But I was pulling for North the whole time because I always am. How about you, Reeves?
I saw the result coming. I felt like the game went exactly as predicted before game. I felt like it was going to be under the match points, and I felt like Freo were going to win. And in the end, I mean, it probably got a little closer for comfort than maybe Freo would have liked, with North really storming home there in the start of the last quarter. But, I just think North, I mean, they keep showing a lot of green shoots and a lot of moments where you go, oh, we're good on them, and they lost by 6 points again. But again, it's not cutting any mustard, is it? So
Zerha, 0 goals.
Yes, and I think obviously Sheasel's just been doing it, pretty standardly. But it was Freo as well with Brayshaw and Sarong just doing what they had to do. But it wasn't exactly world-beating. But I think North, they're starting to build a bit of identity here, and they're starting to be very hard to play. They're a real banana peel where you don't take them lightly. And it seems like a lot of teams, no game in AFL do you take lightly, but teams are just sort of getting over them. They're just able to do the arm wrestle enough against them. And so interesting at the moment being North, because it feels like a lot being like a St Kilda supporter where, at least North have 2 premierships in the 90s where, Saints don't have a lot to show for the last 60 years of history. But yet for some reason, North supporters at the moment, they're almost not buying it. They're listening to the radio a bit, they're ringing up, and they're very, very upset at just losing again. And then they go and have a win last week against West Coast, and now they back it up with a 6-point loss. It's just sort of, it's very consistent. So I think they just need to be a little bit more patient, North supporters. Keep showing the faith in the club here because, they're on the right path. They're fully committed to it, and they've got a generation of players still coming through now, and I feel like this game on the weekend was the prime example of where they're at, which is getting a lot closer.
I'm just going to stop you there. I'm going to call bullshit on that, because I feel like we've been saying the same shit about North since the pod began. Like, always about the young kids. The future looks bright. This generation. This one's it. Every year. Year after year. Bottom of the pack. Hawthorn reached the bottom of the pack. Look at them now.
But look at them what?
North are fucking in a rut.
Look at them what? Hawthorn haven't done anything.
They've gotten out of the bottom of the pack. Bottom of the ladder. They're not in the bottom of the ladder. Unlike North has been for years.
I'm still seeing.
The whole time it was like, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. They're getting draft picks. They're gonna rebuild. They're gonna do it. And they just haven't. And I feel like we've seen other teams fall and rebuild in the time we've been saying, North are gonna get there. North are gonna get there. So, at this point, fucking show me. I'm not buying into this. Oh, they have potential. Oh, they're on the right path. Show me. Until you show me, that's it. But also, one game isn't enough to show me, because they've had some good wins. Like, they smacked Melbourne. Like,
hey, look, this is strong. This is what they need, is all for footy to fire a rocket up them, because they'll be listening.
For sure.
They'll be listening. I listen to the Shin Boners podcast every week. It's a good podcast. And, they don't send rockets because they love their players, and they just still pump them with praise and go, oh, good on them for trying. But you've nailed it, Nathan. I don't think they've been sent the proper rockets. So hopefully this just catapults through into their sort of atmosphere, and then it'll set in, and then this could be it. They're playing Carlton this week.
I think if this goes viral for my comments just then, I feel like I'm going to be universally shat on by the public.
Well, if they come out and win by 50 points.
Yeah, that's one game. Like, I'm not buying that. Go fuck yourself.
Come on, North. Fire up. Give us something this week.
Win 10 games in a row, and then
we're
give me the middle finger. Get a fucking streak going, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Get in the 8.
I like it.
Get in the 8. Remember what the 8 was like? Get back there.
I'm not on this train. I'm on this rocket.
Oh, okay. The friend
I'm
rocket.
on it.
The friend rocket. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, look, I don't know. Sarong's good. Brayshaw's good. Same fucking culprits for Fremantle.
Same old Freo.
Hot
I mean, at least
cold,
they're winning.
Yeah, they're winning some. They win the games they shouldn't. They lose the games they shouldn't. I really expected them to lose this one. I really did. And boy, did they just hang in there. Oh, yeah, well, pretty commanding lead all throughout, and then North came back at the end. But, oh, jeez, I was really rooting for them in that last quarter. And what a last quarter it was. But, yeah.
It was good footy.
Yeah.
Wet footy. It's always good footy.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to the next game. Port Adelaide versus Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide 14-9-93. Melbourne 9-14-68. Port Adelaide by 25 points. Reeves, I'm shattered.
You should be.
I am. I'm very shattered. I really expected us to win this one. Port ain't shit. But, well, they're better than Melbourne.
It was a funny game like that. I mean, D's didn't play too bad a footy, and, come in late to the third quarter there. They got right back into it to within a goal, I think it was. And,
and then they just booted away.
Yeah, they just ticked around, and I just feel like they play a very generic game style, Melbourne, and teams are able to pick them apart when they know that they're usually waiting for Max Golan down the line to be quite one of their main plays a lot of the time. And, I just feel like as well at the moment they got no trust in their forward line. And I know they had a few good weeks there where they started getting a few goals on the board, but it was Harrison Petty and it was Fritsch and it was Pickett. And it was a handful of smaller forwards getting 2 to 4 goals, and obviously Melcham. And I just feel like as the season wears on, you can't rely too much. You really need more of a bullocking target that's probably going to be able to wrestle 2 big defenders to make way for these small forwards to have space. At the moment, the small forwards are now getting manned up because they're very dangerous, and everyone knows they're very dangerous. And you don't have anyone tall down there that you have to worry about. So it is easy to go to Pickett and to go to Melcham and to go to Petty and and if one of them gets away a bit, you put two on them, and I just feel like it's finding them out a lot, and then they're getting a lot of tough looks at goal as well, just because they're probably not being able to play direct to a tall forward who can command some space. So it just all lines up towards probably not being the best planning, the best tactics. I think it's been safe and it's played dividends with Max Gawn being such a legend over the years, and Ben Brown playing the role for a bit but then disappearing, and obviously having Hogan. You could break down a history of where it's maybe fallen down a bit, and I just think at the moment, Simon Goodwin, I mean, not to say that he's under a world of pressure, but this game style with this forward line, it's been a raging issue now for a few seasons. And I just think it's starting to become to a halt. You got a generational list with Petrarca and Oliver and Gawn and May, and they don't just grow on trees, these sort of lists, and
No.
you get judged real heavily when it's the end. And I just got a fleeting feeling that at the end of the year, Melbourne are going to make some big moves. They got Max King at St Kilda floating around as a forward.
Hey, you want Petrarca?
Well, who knows what sort of players go where, but I just feel like Melbourne, you got Longmire and you got other coaches, Buckley and all that, out of roles now. You got, there's something about maybe a move that Melbourne's got to make soon with a player or two to change around and really freshen up some walls. And
I think Petrarca's gone at the end of the year. We're going to trade him for something good. Him or Oliver.
I mean, why you get a lot for him? I mean,
we've got to open up the salary cap, mate. We just got Pickett for fucking 9 years.
You got to clear something somewhere, don't you?
Bullshit. I'm not really happy about that, by the way. I think that's a way too big a contract. What the fuck are you doing?
But as we know, by the end of it, like, that money will be different money by then. I mean, Alistair Lynch signed a $1 million contract for 9 years 20 years ago, and by the end of it, it's like he was on pittance. So the money in footy goes up pretty quickly, and in 10 years' time, Cozzy Pickett's contract, he might be getting unders. If he's finishing out his years there on...
Still the biggest contract. Still the biggest contract, but yeah.
It is. There's a lot of loopholes with contracts these days, Nathan, and, you hear the figure bantered around, but, a lot of breakdowns that'll go into that before he'll end up with that money become the end of the time. And by the time he does, he'll have earned it, but it will be a lesser salary.
Well, we don't know that.
Player out there by then, so...
Yeah, I don't know.
It comes with a bit of trepidation both ways when you look at it long term.
I think you're being silly. There's always contract negotiations that happen.
So right now it's one of the higher paid player moments, but he doesn't have any of that money. But by the time he ends up with that money, there will be a lot higher contracts. So I just more mean...
No, we'll see.
It does come as a bit of give and take by the time you start.
What do you think? Do you think Cozzy Pickett deserves that contract?
No, absolutely. Hats off to Cozzy. He deserves it. It just it's very easy for the Herald to write up the figures as he's going to get 12 million, but he hopefully he earns all the money that he's due.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say 12 million over 9 years. No, I don't know if is he worth it?
Yeah, but like I said at the
moment, I don't know. I don't think he's one of the best players in the comp. I don't think he's earned like a fucking monumental sort of pay for an AFL player. Like, he's good. I love him. Don't get me wrong, but he's not the best in the comp, and he's not near it. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, man. Maybe that's just me.
I feel like this story will tell a lot more tales in 9 years, when it will... The Alistair Lynch one did this era where when he first got his contract, everyone went, whoa, first $1 million player in footy, wow, whoa. Yeah, when you break it down, it was $100,000 a year.
Talking about inflation.
He didn't even finish out the 9 years, so he never saw $1 million. And then, it just comes with a lot of interest to the way it plays out, and you don't know yet, but... 10 years' time's a long time, and the money in footy, the CBAs are going to go up.
Well, also, just because he didn't fulfill the length of the contract doesn't mean he didn't get paid for it.
No, I just more mean it's an interesting story when you throw it out as this guy's getting that many million. Yeah. But
like, if I get a $9 million contract for 10 years, and at 5 years I have like an injury that like ends my career, I get all that money.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what I'm saying. He'll
Like-
get paid out like
Like,
that.
you still
That's
get the
fine.
money. Like,
But another club might come in and want to snaffle him up on like a,
yeah.
with 3 years to go and pay him like way more and all this stuff. And
Hey, we'll see. We'll see.
Melbourne can get out of a lot of the end of the payment. They also have clauses like the last few years
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
be
there's
worth
clauses.
as much as the middle years, and then
Mhm.
amount you play would go into it. And
Oh,
yeah, so it's
there's
very
there's
interesting.
many litigious reasons behind all of that, but we're not a party to any of it.
Well, we
So-
are a party to a little bit of it.
A little bit of
Yeah.
it. Little bit. So we don't really
Yeah.
know what we're talking about. So let's move on back to the game. Georgiadis, 7 goals. Fuck you, prick.
Oh, I know. What a game he played too.
What a prick. 7 goals for. Like, Jesus. Fuck off. Like, at that point, just stop, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, and Rosie and Francis as well through the mid. They just were dominating, just drilling it down his throat. It seemed like all day, but
Yeah.
obviously 7 goals.
Mate, I've been sort of deflated on friend of the pod, Bell Pepper, this year. And this week he decides to play fucking real good football, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
why? Why this week? Why of all weeks? It's like he listens. Well, we know he's a friend of the pod, so he listens to the pod. So he's clearly heard what I said, and he's just like, I'm taking it personally. I'm gonna have one good game this year, and it's gonna be against Melbourne. I'm gonna fuck him up. And yeah, it seemed like that's what he did. He fucked us up. And Horn Francis, Jesus Christ, what a fucking gun.
They played well.
Yeah, what a gun. I feel like he was on somebody and he just neutralized him. Was it Petrarca? Petrarca fucking didn't even see him there pretty much for the whole game. Like, where was he? Can't tell you, mate. Can't tell you. But he was nowhere near, like, top possession, top disposals. Like, yeah, here, 17 disposals. What are you doing, mate? Oh, to be fair, 10 contested possessions. Gone! 20 contested possessions out of 23. Jesus Christ. Alright, well, Gone's good. But also, Gone missing, like, numerous shots right in front of goal. The amount of times I saw a missed goal that should have been fucking... Like, I could kick it every day of the week. And I see these people that are getting paid to play football professionally and just miss. It's like, what are you doing? Do your job. Put your fries in the bag. Like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, this is what you get paid for. This is what you train for. Like,
It's like a bad putter in golf, Like, you're really not going to be a lead player on the tour if you're just a bad putter. You can be average, but if you're bad putter, see you later. You know what I mean? You just...
Absolutely. Well, look, as I say, put the fries in the bag. That's what I say to goal scorers.
Well, they should be all day. It should be just straight in the bag.
That's it. I love that saying, by the way. It's such a good one. It just boils down to, hey, look, I don't care, do your job.
Yeah.
Like, put the fries in the bag. Like, I would
I wonder
never
how
say
many-
that at Macca's or anything like that.
But I wonder how many people at Macca's go to put the fries and just miss the bag. Probably not many, And so, but you would say it'd be an easier job.
I know, do you not understand the saying?
No, I get it. That's what I'm just thinking.
It's like
out
if you
loud.
go to Macca's and the guy behind the desk, he's like talking to you about his life story. It's like, bro, like, put the fries in the bag. Like,
But
do your
imagine he
job.
misses the bag, and then you're just like, you're sitting there watching him going, oh, and then you're just like, mate, you're right,
Mate, it's your fucking first day, mate. No.
Start sledging him over the counter, just like,
Yeah.
Noonan. And he's like, oh, and he slips, he just misses the bag.
I-
Hey, good one, jackass! Woo!
Yeah. I don't think it's wise to mock anybody serving you food. I don't think it's wise. You need to keep these people happy. Because if
You
you're
want
not
them to
looking,
concentrate.
they could
But that's why
contaminate
the
your foods.
opposition. But that's why the opposition mock a team having a shot at goal, because you want them to be all distracted. You got to be like, oh, hey, PI, I threw a pickle on the oval, and that guy having a kick's going to be like, what? You threw a pickle on the oval? What? Like, so that's the over the years where that's come from. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
So a good player concentrates. He doesn't worry about what's been said over the fence, and he just
A good
has his shot.
player puts the fries in the bag. All right, let's
Straight in
move
the bag.
on to the next game. Sunday
Randall.
football at Optus Stadium. It is West Coast versus Carlton. West Coast 7-10-52 to Carlton 12-14-86. Carlton by 34 points.
Oh, I mean, well, should we stand and applaud that we
Should
have
we?
a first tipster to make it? Just a quick standing of applaud there.
Standing
Yes,
ovation.
yes.
Standing ovation.
Very exciting. To be on the pod, footy tips, Tommy, and we all backed him in and thought that maybe he'd get a touch on debut, but to get 31 on debut, I mean, he's the new lead record holder for any person on our tipping comp on debut. So well done, Tommy. I'm not sure how he went for West Coast. I mean, he might be the highest for West Coast on debut. I'm not sure.
I think, yeah. He
Well,
got the most disposals on the day for his team, and he got the second most for the game overall. So, congratulations. And on top of that, I don't know, have you seen his disposal efficiency? I was very surprised at that. I was very high.
Wasn't it?
Well, he wasn't running around handballing to himself, was he?
No, but he was kicking it in from full back. I did notice one or two missed targets early. So he must have got very effective in the second half of the game there. And it was good to push on the game highlights and see that he'd made the top 5 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the list of players on the top there that show you the better players in the game. So we had West Coast with... sorry, I just clicked out of it.
Yep, good friend Tom McCarthy of the pod. Good friend, I think, Reeby, you saved his life once.
Numerous times.
I think, I rescued him from a house fire once, and that was fun.
Well, he was. He jumped in to save a barbecue, which rolled into the swimming pool at Geordie McGilvray's house one day, and
absolutely,
Lucas and Tommy and Geordie were all sort of there, and Tommy went in to try and help, and we're all going to get it out, and Tommy just sort of was like hanging onto the barbie as we all lifted it up, and I just had to help sort of grab Tom's arm with the barbie as well as we pulled it all out.
Save his life. Yes, no, that was yeah.
I mean, we were mainly in it for the barbecue, but he
was holding on to it. He was there.
Yeah, so we just helped him out that day. But just exciting when someone who's grown up all his life excited about footy, and there he was running around. And I do feel like the Eagles are going to run into Melbourne in the coming weeks, Nathan. So look out, because he might be on the hunting block to take down your team, which is also his team. So
what does it matter? What does it matter? Well, he's a traitor.
But also, for Carlton on the weekend, I mean, wasn't it very hot footy by Carlton in the first quarter? And the ball was down Tom's end the whole quarter because, I mean, they just came out of the blocks hot, 7 goals in the first quarter. And I felt a lot of adrenaline just watching it because you knew how under the pump he would have felt with that ball just coming down, straight down for the first sort of half, really, 10 goals to 3. And it was quite electric footy, but then West Coast did steady a bit and play a lot more composed footy. But again, like North Melbourne, it was just all too late when they really got it together a bit and started playing their better footy. But some really good contributors for West Coast. I mean, even Harley Reid on the weekend. I mean, his game at the moment is just electric, and he goes for the speckies. He kicks the ball 60 metres, and he just runs like the wind. And I really enjoy watching Harley Reid play footy at the moment. And I mean, I know West Coast are trying hard to keep him, but there's a lot of interest, and I feel like if Cozzy Pickett's contract was something to go off, that Harley Reid could be one who could go, well, stuff you, Coz, I'm going to match it and beat it. But he's really going to be a sought after name over the next year or two, especially being from country Victoria. So he's putting himself out there beautifully, Harley, and some of West Coast youngsters. I mean, they're playing really good footy. Gympie, McCarthy, Reid, there's a line straight away. So, you got Talls with fast running backmen there. And, West Coast really interests me. I mean, I just still see them in about 3 seasons really progressing up the ladder quickly again. They're definitely a couple of years away. But even just the electricity they bring on game day at the moment, they're getting 40,000+ at the home games while they're not up and about. And that carries the players a lot, gives them a lot of belief that the hometown crowd back them and they love them. And it's really going to be interesting following Tommy's career here because, if he gets a bit of a start, who knows how far he could go. And imagine one day he's a premiership player for the Eagles, and that'd be pretty special. So
that would be special for him. And us as close friends.
Well, yes, and tipping companions. I mean, I actually do wish him to get 0 tips every week, really, because, I'm tipping against him, and at the moment he's above me. So, while I wish him well, I sort of hope that you forget to put your tips in, as saying silly, Tommy, because, it'd be good to get above you.
Yeah, well. I think we should have a new segment on the show, Tom Watch.
I like it.
Every week we go over the West Coast game. We talk about Tom McCarthy.
Yeah, well, I was
our good friend Tom McCarthy.
Our good friend Tom McCarthy, and when we were driving home on Monday from Shepparton, I was listening to the radio, and Jai had heard the name a lot over the weekend, and had obviously seen him on the TV, and he was a bit excited. And then I thought I'd just have a bit of SEN on while we're driving home. And
as you do.
They popped up with a bit of conversation about Tommy, and Jai from the backseat went, "Oh, Tom McCarthy, that's our friend, Daddy." And I thought, oh, there he is again. He just kept getting talked about. So Jai just doesn't miss a beat, he's just all over it, listening to those AM stations.
Yeah, except he goes for doggies, so,
Yeah, but he's all for jumping on a gravy wagon, so I think he was all over this one.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to this week's tips. Reebs. We had a hell of a round this round. The highest score people got was 6. The 6 people got 6 out of 7. Doggy Style. That's Rick, Parker, Alan, Scotty, Jim Bob, Luke, your secret friend, the tipping comp leader, Ryan, and Millie Moo. All got 6. Good, congratulations. And shout out to Molly, and he got 2.
Oh, he's working hard on that too. I got 4. I really rubbed him.
He's working hard. All right, well.
And just to shout out, actually, to the leader in our tipping competition.
Oh, we get to that. We shout him out every week.
No. Just more like to the leading number. I'm not actually giving any single person here a praise.
But I will.
But I've been checking in at numerous competitions, and our top couple would be leading in a lot of competitions that I go and check scores against. So to all of you that are right at the top there, good tipping, and good luck for the second half of the year.
Golf clap. All right, Braves, you are second from the bottom on 64.
Second best podcaster too.
Balin is just 1 ahead of you. Paddy's 5 off, but Paddy didn't even put his tips in. He's chucked in the towel, it seems.
How many did he get this week?
He didn't put his tips in and got more tips than you. So yeah, he got 5.
That happened last week too.
But yeah, I'm coming in at number 9. I'm aiming for that top 5. I really am.
Mr. 9 out of 9. Well
Absolutely. And then the top 5, Jamie, number 5 on 80. Tied with Steelo and Melfan at also at 80. You're all on 80s, but Kiss of Death, Jamie, he's at number 5. Then you got Scotty, number 4 on 83.
Ooh.
He's he's doing pretty good. He's cementing his spot. Jim Bob Parker, 86 at number 3. That's tip of the hat. And your secret friend Luke, he is 2nd place with 87. Congratulations. And leading the tips, Ryan Fenton on 92. A fucking whopping 92.
Very whopping, actually. Very whopping.
Yeah, he's got a handy lead. It's going to be hard to knock him off, and I don't think that's going to happen. It's about time. When I went up to... He should have won another comp. This is the fourth year we're doing it, and yeah, he should have won one.
Well, when I went up there, he actually did... I haven't wanted to reveal this for a while, but he did pay for my air flights and a night's accommodation because he wanted me to sit down and just go over how do you win a tipping competition. And I... At first, I felt a bit weird about it, but I thought, all right. So I paid for an extra couple of days and made a holiday of it.
And then you just said, tip the favourites. And he was like, right, I'm going for it.
Well, it was a 2-day conference, so we had to sit down. I had to fill in a lot of time with just drawing on A boards, sort of just making, a few... I won't say it too loud, squiggles on.
You just kept writing, tip the favourites over and over again.
Well, no, that wasn't. It was just be
Very
your
nicely done.
best. I actually brought it back to the Hawthorn. The Hawthorn when they did a club. What do you call it when they go over the whole club, like with a fine tooth, and they sort of
what?
come out with findings.
A club
And
analysis.
they did it. They called it the do better report, because
fair
they
enough.
found that they needed to do better in and so they were trying to find the areas where, and that's how I pretty much samosa'd down the tips for Ryan. I just said, just do better.
And he was like, right, and now he's winning the comp, so he owes it all to you.
See? Yeah, it wasn't just tip the favourites, because some weeks
No. At the end, you did say tip the favourites, and he was like, right.
No, but that's the old generic one that people used to just say, like, keep your head down. It's like, it's so dumb, but mine was just do better.
Yeah. Do better.
So
tip
it's
the
really
favourites.
worked. And,
Yep.
if anyone out there wants to pay me to be their tipping coach next year, I've got plenty more ammo up my sleeve. I mean, obviously, I've won this thing before, so
Yeah.
I can
You
I
gotta
can help
pay-
anyone out.
Got to pay for
Help Ryan.
airfare, and there's an hourly rate involved.
Or a night, I can put me up at your house for a night or a dinner or just something. But,
And, yeah. And if you want to ask how much it costs, it means you can't afford it. So, yeah. Waiting to hear from
but it's
us.
not about that. It's about the connection that we make until I teach you this thing. And I didn't know what
tip
it
the
was
favourites.
straight away with Ryan, but then it took me a day or two of just analysing with him and chatting and asking him about certain teams. And then I just realised that if he just did better.
And tip the favourites. Yeah, no, gotcha. All right, let's move into this week's tips.
Oh.
Let's get there. All right, first game, Thursday night football at Optus Stadium. Fremantle versus Essendon. Who you got?
I'm going Fremantle.
I think I'm going to Fremantle. Like Essendon. Sorry, guys. You're sitting 12th. You're not looking too good. I'm sorry.
This is a big game for Freo at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. They really need this one to be right in there.
Yeah, well, they just need it to be like a easy win, essentially. And I think that's what it's going to be for them. All right, next game. Friday night football at the GMHBA Stadium. A subpar stadium, some say. Geelong versus the Lions. Second versus third, apparently.
Subpar. Did you just give reference to my golf podcast that I only give a shout out to?
Shout out, Reeby's Golf Podcast, subpar podcast.
I have tipped Brisbane here. I mean, I was just spooking Geelong just before, obviously. I just reckon Brizzy, again on the weekend against Giants, I don't think they played bad footy. They played great footy, actually, being quite ineffective. And I really feel like that they're going to match up well against Geelong here. And even though it's down there, Brizzy are used to this sort of ground size, with the Gabba being that little bit narrow. It's quite a GMHBA-sized stadium at Brisbane. So I'm going to give Brizzy a bit of credit and tip him here in a very close one. 102 to 104.
Fair enough. Well,
very high scoring.
As far as I'm concerned, there's three certainties in life: death, taxes, Cats winning the 2025 flag. Put it on a shirt. All right, so yeah, I'm going Cats. They're just looking too good. They just look too good these days. All right, next game, Saturday football at the MCG. It is Carlton versus North Melbourne. Reeves.
Look, I mean, I'd love to give the Kangas a chance here.
We always do.
I think I am giving them a big chance, but I'm just going to tip Carlton. I mean, again, it's a game for them where they look at their chances on paper and, well, they're going to back themselves in. And, head to head, I mean, Carlton should be getting the job done here.
Yeah.
But good luck to North. I mean, I'd love to throw my tip the other way, but I'm really trying to get back at Paddy, so I really need to get this one. And although North are the away team, so geez, Paddy will tip them anyway. Oh no, North are the home team.
No, North are the away team.
Oh, they are the away team,
They are the
right?
away
So
team.
not.
So yeah, well, hey, look, I hope North Melbourne get up. I don't care. Throw away my tip. I'm going Carlton, of course, because you'd be stupid not to. Or you just don't care about your tips anymore. I feel like that's a reason to vote North in this one, because this is a must win for Carlton.
I just thought that West Coast would have done better against Carlton. So I think it proves that if Carlton can play their best footy for periods of the game, they're going to get a good run on. They should. I mean, that's the way these games have been going.
Yeah,
a bit.
they should.
I feel like Carlton
Sometimes they
by
don't.
19 I'll go Carlton by 19 points.
Yeah, not fair. All right. Next game. Saturday football at Adelaide Oval. It is Port Adelaide versus Sydney.
Oh, it's a good contest, this one, isn't it? Two
Might be.
teams that have just been down there just that little bit this year, and now they're both just hanging on to not bottoming me out, sort of thing. And, Sydney coming off a week off last week, where Port have been playing, but they've been winning, which is also quite big.
Momentum.
Sydney might have had a week off and stopped thinking about footy for a minute, where Port look really invested as a team right now. They're playing for each other, finally just look like a tough unit to play week to week. But you just don't know what Sydney is going to run out fresh off the bye. They might have had a few chats. They might be feeling good about their game. They might be a million miles away. So I'm going to just go with the home team. Port, I think 3 in a row. You never know where the season could be back on if they get this one.
Yeah, 100%.
You never know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Port. They showed up last week, and I really liked what I saw. And I feel like, they had a shocking start of the year. Is this where they start turning it around a bit? They've already got 2 wins. They could have a third one on the run. Sydney, that's the right opponent. Sydney have bottomed out. They're plummeting down on the ladder, if anything. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go Port as well. All right, next game. Saturday night football at Marvel Stadium. It's Collingwood versus St Kilda.
Wow, doesn't this one shape up as an ugly contest?
Yeah, come on. You know who you're going for.
I am going to tip Collingwood. I think they will get the victory, but I also do like the omenness to the earlier in the year I tipped against St Kilda once, and they of course won that week, which meant I didn't get the tip. So I'm really hoping that might be the jinx that gets us over the line, but I just think they're in such prime nick, and we're just, we're patching it together. Yeah. I feel like we're going to put in a lot better effort than we did against the Doggies. We might play just a slightly better brand of footy, and look, let's hope to stay with them. The line is currently at 30 points, so I'm going to have in my multi this week St Kilda at the line.
Damn, not fair. That sounds about right.
Collingwood will win by 29 points.
All right. I just think Collingwood is going to be a bad day for St Kilda. It's going to be a bad day for football in general because it's going to be a slow game. It's going to be a scrappy game. Saints footy on display.
Where is it?
It's at Marvel Stadium.
Oh, yeah, right. See, they play. Why is Collingwood playing at Marvel? Because I know they have West Coast at Marvel a bit later in the year.
Right, because they need Carlton North Melbourne at the G. All right.
Yeah, the following week, Collingwood play West Coast at Marvel.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting. But yeah, Collingwood across the board. They're just gonna do you in. All right, next game, Sunday football at NG Stadium. It is GWS versus Gold Coast. Reeves.
Oh, it's just been a tight one, this one.
This one is a tight one. This could go either way, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah, Gold Coast, there hasn't been a lot of talk about Gold Coast. I mean, they've had the bye. I felt like they put in not a bad effort against Geelong the game before they had the bye, wearing those pink Guernseys down there. But, yeah, I've had Gold Coast tipped here, but at the moment, I mean, I just still feel like I'm leaning back towards GWS, especially being at their home ground. But I think Gold Coast really are playing good footy this year, and this match is a real juicy one, isn't it? So
this is an interesting one.
I'm going to stick with my original tip and tip Gold Coast. To go with the fleety form of Giants being good 1 week, bad 1 week, good 1 week, bad 1 week.
Yeah, well, look, we all know about Gold Coast's hoodoo last year of winning every home game, losing every away game. They have broken it, but I still do think playing away is not what they like to do. They are not a good away team. This is GWS at home. GWS. Yeah, all right. Sometimes they don't perform, but sometimes they overperform, and I feel like I'll take my chances.
Feel you, bud.
Yeah, I'll feel it, bro.
So I'm like, I should be really tipping Giants, but it's
Nah.
gonna be my one for the week. I'll go there. Go the Gold Coast.
Exactly. What, you're not going to go for, well, last game of the round, Sunday afternoon football, Marvel Stadium. It is the Doggies versus Richmond. You can zag here where everybody's zigging.
Oh no, Dogs for me. I mean, the dogs do have a little bit of a tendency to make Richmond a bit of a bogey team. I'm sure Mr. Parker knows all about this, where they have slipped up against them a few times, but I just reckon they'll run rings around Richmond this week once the match gets going, and Doggies by maybe 40 plus.
Yeah, hey, look, they might even send out their reserves.
Good reserve side, the Doggies.
Oh, there you go. And of course, this week's buys are Adelaide, Hawthorn, Melbourne, and West Coast.
Nice.
All good. All right, well, let's move on to closing thoughts, Mr. Daniel Reeby.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't have much else on my mind except for the fact that I'm back to work tomorrow. It's been a long week. Obviously had to head west, just to go and see my mate debut. But it sort of everything ran into a bit of a colliding timeline because Paddy was finishing up the Ironman, and obviously the whole family was in Cairns for crossing the line. So I sort of had to charter a flight from Perth to Cairns, but then charter a flight back to Victoria to then shoot back up to Shepparton and slip back into my bed so no one noticed that I wasn't in the spare bed, that I was sleeping in my cousin's bedroom. So very, very busy weekend, and it was well worth it though to go and see young Patrick cross the line there in 11 hours and 40 minutes in his second or third. I should actually know. I think second.
You should.
Ironman.
I feel like it's a third one. I feel like he's done them a number of times before.
I thought last year was his first.
I feel like he did one ages ago. Ask him. Fuck, Jesus.
No, but an Ironman. Maybe he did the half Ironman first. But, hats off to him. And, if I can give a Steve Irwin for the week, it's to Patrick Reeby.
Mate, the man's an athlete.
To do an Ironman, is a big effort. And to do two it's a double as big an effort. So he's now a double Ironman. And who knows, maybe one year he'll knock off his 10th and he'll become a Spartan.
Fair enough. All right. Well, my closing thoughts. Mate, it's been fucking a big few weeks. COVID knocked me out. Nintendo Switch 2 came out. It was amazing.
Max gone and Steve May had a fall.
No, that has nothing to do with nothing. It's my closing thoughts. You shut the fuck up. I had Summer Game Fest going on over at the Bruce Rando channel, so go check that out. I covered all the games that were announced. It was very fun. 6-hour stream it was. It was very big. Yeah, no, you weren't. Moving on to this weekend, Bruce Rando will be doing another stream. He'll be streaming a bunch of demos from Steam next fest. And, that should be very interesting. So pop on by and say hello. All right.
We'll attempt. On Saturday?
Saturday morning I'll probably try and aim for. We'll see how I go. See how Bruce goes. All right. Well, that's it from us at All for Footy. And we're